Okay, here we go again. We're back, and now,
I'm still living at Corin Lane.
yeah, we're still living at Corn Lane, but we're going to talk about the first date that Roy and Mother had.
It was
And,
funny.
yeah, so this is where dad, my biological dad, was out at the archery range. And Roy and Dad always did archery together. But this is where Dad has his girlfriend on the side, Janine, and I loved her. He ended up marrying her, and she was a good woman.
3 days after me, and he blamed me for doing that.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead and tell the story where you're at the archery range with Scott.
Yeah,
or wasn't it where he won the award, or you were at the archery range all day?
We had to be at the archery range for Scott to. He had won the championship the week before, and he had to protect it the next week. I don't know what you'd call that. But anyway, that night, the
they were giving awards.
Yeah, the awards were
the state championship award.
Yeah, the big awards were being given out in Henderson.
And I think Scott was like 10 or 12.
He was about 11 at that time because he'd won it at 10, the youngest champion so far. It was for 16 years and under. So anyway, we had to go out there all that long way out from Corin Lane. It was a long way to this school, and had a lot of people in there all waiting for their gifts and whatever. And they were all gathered down the front. And I stood at the back because I wasn't interested in being spotlighted by any means. And anyway, I stood at the back with Scott, and Roy came up and said, "Let me take Scott down the front. He belongs down front." So he took Scott down where he was handed to get his award. And anyway, evidently, there was a conversation that I wasn't in on it. I was still at the back. But evidently, Roy heard Lee say to Janine, "After this is over, I'll take you to the biggest steak dinner in town." And he didn't say anything. Roy was always very quiet. And anyway, finally it all finished up, and I thought, oh, thank goodness, I can go home now and go to bed.
And wasn't Uncle AP, Dad's brother, watching us, me and Mark?
Well, that's when I got home. And I had all the kids with me because I was tired and I wanted to get them in bed. And who was there but AP? And my brother-in-law, that was Joe Lee, my husband's oldest brother. And I had bonded with him pretty good. And we were real good friends by then. Of course, as the years passed, we weren't so good. That was when he was doing the horse racing and the money.
There's a joke about him, and we still say this joke in the family about Uncle AP, is anytime someone says, "Well, do you have a tip?" and he says, "Yeah, don't play the horses."
Yeah, don't bet on the horses.
Don't bet on the horses.
That was Roy's tip.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to Roy. And
anyway, I walked in the house, and there AP is sitting on the lounge. And beside that, who's out in the yard with the bow and arrow teaching Scott? His father. It was about 8:30 in the morning, early in the morning.
Well, I thought this was after you got home from the thing. No, you're skipping ahead. Okay, I know what you're doing. You're skipping ahead. Let's keep on track here, because AP's there.
Yeah,
and it's late at night. It's not 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's right.
And the phone rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And AP's come up to visit me from Los Angeles.
Right.
And he's going to stay the night. He always finds somewhere to sleep. And anyway, the phone rings. We're sitting on the lounge talking. and the phone rings, and it's Roy. I've never had a phone call from him in my life before. And Roy says, if you're ready, I'll take you out to the biggest steakhouse in town, or the biggest steak in town. And I'm pointing my fingers, I don't want to go, and I'm shaking my head, and no, no, no. And AP said, yes, yes, yes. And he said, I'll babysit the kids. So anyway, in between these little conversations...
Between Roy wanting you to go to have the biggest steak dinner and AP saying, yes, you're going.
Yeah.
You finally broke down and you go.
I didn't want to go because I was so tired. Anyway, we go. He picks me up outside and off we go. And we go and have the biggest steak dinner in town, I guess. I can't remember it, but we had it.
And you come out of the place. I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, we come out of that place, and it was broad daylight. I couldn't believe it was so light. And the sun was shining, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's daylight. And we'd been in that place for hours, just talking, just eating and talking. Of course, it was late when we got there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we headed home. And as we drove up, he was out in the front yard with a bow and arrow at Lee.
And so...
I thought, oh my gosh. I was scared immediately because I was frightened of your father.
Oh, yeah, there was reason to be frightened of him. He wasn't very nice when he was drinking. I mean, I think my dad was a good man for the most part, but
except for that damn pointed finger.
Well, that and the bottle. I think the bottle got him. So I am not really wanting to put my dad in a bad light, but you know, he did some things that weren't right, and we're going to talk about it. And but anyway, Roy comes in, and Roy tells you to go. What does Roy tell you?
He's just going upstairs.
Mm.
So all the kids are clamored around me, you know.
Yeah, because we were all afraid of him, you know.
And off they went upstairs, and I went with them. And I didn't hear any more. Everything was quiet. I came down, and AP just said, well, we told him to leave, and Roy told him to leave, and I told him to leave, and he left.
Yeah. So, again, back to... You know, that's just kind of the way it was, that when Dad showed up, there was just people standing in between you and him.
Yeah. So anyway, that was their first date, and I guess the blankets come next.
No, I think the blankets came the first time that we talked about that he overheard that conversation. Well, maybe so. I don't know. Maybe the blankets came and he said, that's when he made that comment, if you ever have a friend, you know. At some point the blankets came and they were set. He was, you know, and I remember living in Corn Lane and him showing up every now and then, but like you said, he had to show up to feed the horses, but he never stayed long. It was just little...
He came around with a
snippets.
One day he came rolling around with a 40-pound turkey. I remember that. I didn't have a turkey. I'd gone out and bought this stove. I had a beautiful stove, but it was gas.
Yeah. So these were the kind of things that Roy did. He would never stay. But he would just show up and leave things.
Yeah, he had the 40-pound turkey. I thought, oh, heck, what am I going to do with this thing? Anyway, I took it in the kitchen and cooked it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a brand new stove, electric stove, and a brand new turkey.
Yeah, he made sure the house had everything. And like I said, you know, you were just renting. I think that's where Dad put you. And then he went off and did his own little thing. And,
yeah, he didn't want to be bothered with me.
At this time, we were just renting the house from Roy. But at the same time, Roy and Dad were
If you miss the rent, don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, and they were, like, Dad was in sheet metal and Dad was in construction, so you had this group of men who are all in business together. And then they started this hunting. They did hunting. So they were socializing a little bit outside the workplace, but mainly their relationship was the workplace. And then you had the situation where you were renting the house. Dad put you over in Corn Lane and was renting from Roy, and he was the landlord.
Yeah,
and so
I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so all these things were just kind of coming into play.
Did you put the dog in there yet?
Not yet, but we're gonna cut it off at that point. This is where we're gonna cut it off, Tom. I hope you're getting kind of a idea of where this is going. And so we're going to pick this up because there's some more stuff that comes in, but we just can't get it all in one deal. So I'm going to cut it off here. And that was the first date. That's what we're going to call this, the first date. We had the first meeting, and now we have the first date. And then we're going to go from there. So, bye, Tom.
Bye, Tommy.
And my Allred family, Richard, Barbara, and all the grandkids, Jennifer, Michelle.
Tell Jan to call me.
Oh, Jan. Hi, Jan. And Richard. So, I hope this helps you guys and know and kind of, it fills in some gaps for you guys. So, anyway, we love you. And you're part of our family, and that's just the way it is. So, and I loved Roy. So
I don't like Christmas in America.
Oklahoma or America. All right, bye.
Too cold.
Say bye.
Too cold.
Say bye.